G'day guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Wildkard. Thank you for watching the Wildkard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, it is my pleasure and privilege to talk about the greatest game in the world, rugby. And it is also my pleasure and privilege to quote one of the most famous lines in rugby by Mr. Justin Marshall. Go Beauden! And boy, Beauden Barrett saved the All Blacks tonight, pulled it out of the fire. And seriously, this was so dire on the field, right? England was leading at halftime, 14 points to 13. England came out the second half, completely was playing the All Blacks like a bunch of school children, right? Like they were just camped inside the All Blacks half when the All Blacks could not get out of their own 22. They would kick the ball, right? Barely outside their own 22, so England would have a line out right in front of your goal line. And then England would just play a few phases, grab a kick the ball down into your try zone, make you do another goal line dropout, and then just rinse and repeat. Just camped constantly inside your 22, trying to get you to give away that penalty. And it was looking like this could just end in this way. The All Blacks was not struggling with the lineouts, struggling with the exit, struggling with the kicking game. And as you know, when you try to run, there was way too much overthinking on the field. You can tell when D-Mac was on the field by himself before Beauden Barrett came on, he was just trying to figure out everything by himself. Once Beauden came on, right? Beauden has taken over half of that decision making. Beauden came on at 10, by the way. D-Mac moved to fullback. Once Beauden taken over that decision making, D-Mac actually played a lot better because he was not overthinking every little move out there, and he actually just looked way more fluid, way more dangerous, and was just immediately clicked into another gear. And it was just looked so much better. And that is what Beauden Barrett, right? He didn't just bring, the skill set, the confidence to back himself on every decision he made and executing it. He brought something that a lot of the people, you don't recognize, right? It's the fact that he can recognize space. He can recognize where the space is and organize himself and the players around him to target that space, right? How many times did we see Damien McKenzie sees the space behind, and he will put up a high ball or something, and it was uncontestable. It was too far. Why was that a case? Because nobody else was understanding that it was on the same page. But when Beauden came on, right, he recognizes where the space is. He will put a kick through, and he would recognize that nobody else is going to be chasing this kick. He will do the kick himself. He will chase the pressure of the kick himself. And again and again and again, multiple times, he almost pulls through with those kicks, leading into opportunity for the All Blacks, right? That's the difference between the two playmakers, right? One guy makes a kick, nobody follows through. Second guy recognizes space is there and recognizes that he needs to do the job himself, makes a kick, follows himself through, backs himself through it, and getting the results that the team needs, right? That is the difference between the experience. And Beauden Barrett, my goodness, was so good. I was actually surprised that he wasn't starting this game. We already showed last week, completely turned the kicking game around as soon as he came onto the field. This game, once again, it was day and night, right? Last week wasn't so obvious. This week was just day and night. I think everybody in the coaching team finally sees this, that the kicking game cannot just be like, whatever, right? We can just run the ball 90 meters and score, right? You cannot just ignore that in test matches. And Beauden Barrett just completely, England was immediately under pressure and immediately struggling as soon as Beauden Barrett came onto the field. It was just so good. Another issue, and another thing that was big struggling this week, persistent from last week from the All Blacks, was the lineouts. I was surprised that the lineouts were just as terrible as they were last week. Then I had to think about it. Some of you guys actually mentioned to me this. They only selected 3 specialized locks in the entire squad. And then I'm starting to think, right? If you only got 3 locks, who are you contesting against in training? Ethan Blackadder, Wallace Satiti, and then maybe you put Tupavai on the other side. These guys are great players, but Tupavai aside, Blackadder and Satiti are not test match level locks to contest your scrum, to help you practice your scrum. To practice your lineouts, right? So that's why I was surprised that it hasn't, the lineout hasn't improved at all this week. And then I thought about it, I'm like, yeah, of course you're not going to improve because you haven't got anybody to train against. And I think this could be an issue because of the fact that in the past, the All Blacks has backed themselves, didn't need professional lineout operators because they had Brodie Retallick and Sam Wylock to just do everything without really needing to emphasize on practicing this line-out preparation, line-out, cohesion in training. Because they didn't need that. They already had that experience there. And it was really starting to show. Mauro Itoje from England was just having a field day out there in the line-out, just taking the ball left and right. And it was looking pretty dire. Itoje was really, really good for the whole game. But he did let his team down in the breakdowns, especially late in the second half when the fatigue started kicking in. He really was just not holding his support weight, giving a couple of really, really crucial penalties there against himself, upon his team. Once again, interesting to see the attack hasn't changed for England. A lot of the English attack relied on Alex Mitchell to just take on the ball, right? And then just kind of like taking on the gangler himself and try to offload for, send one of the forwards through with a little gap around him. This is actually a style that England trying to play both weeks now. They will get somebody to carry the ball forward and they will make the pass, a short pass, pre-contact, all right, to try to get someone to punch through the hole. Whereas the All Blacks play a slightly different style. The All Blacks will actually take the ball into contact and then look for the offload. So that is a very two different style there. And it's and then the English style, when the pressure is on, they are, when the pressure is on, if they actually not able to hold on to the ball because the fact that both that ball passing the ball and receiving the player that's receiving the ball are just about to head into contact when the ball is traveling into the air, right? So a lot of knock-ons as a result of that. So England probably have to think about maybe taking the ball post-contact. If your opposition's reading your attack consistently, you might have to just delay the tap pass a little bit more, right? You can either get a penalty for the opposition tackle your player without a ball, or you can make the post-contact and then try to make the offload a little bit later and get that, advantage, just hold up the defense a little bit longer, right? So that's something that England really, I think that's something that the All Blacks really prepared for and did really well to counter. Another thing is that the rush defense was still a little bit an issue against the All Blacks. And once again, once Beauden Barrett came on, he was able to organize himself into gaps where the English rush defense was, least effective, right? He was able to quickly switch the point of attack so that England was preparing to rush defense on the left-hand side. He was able to switch to the right-hand side, and suddenly England wasn't sure which side to rush anymore. And also, the rush defense is only effective if you are up against, fast centers like Henry Slade, right? The line break when Beauden Barrett came on that led to the winning try essentially for the All Blacks is the fact that Beauden Barrett saw where the props were and lined himself against Finn Baxter, the prop. And he immediately knew he was the rush defense not gonna be there. He knew he was gonna probably make a line break. And then sure enough, D-Mac got the ball, passed to him, and it was just a prop in front of him. Ran straight around him. And then away you go. Try time into the corner for Mark Talea. It's just that easy. And that is the difference. That is the difference between someone that has 121 test caps and someone who's, hardly played off the bench like Damian McKenzie, right? And that was very easy, very obvious to see. And man, it was so good. So good from Beauden Barrett. And also, the one thing that was another consistent dominance for the All Blacks was the scrummaging. The All Blacks scrummaging early in the dominance. And what's really good to see is that England actually managed to stifle the scrum dominance and stabilize the scrum, right? As the game played on. But the All Blacks adjusted in the second half. Fletcher Newell came on, immediately got the scrum dominance back, getting that penalty. This is the New Zealand bomb squad, essentially. Fletcher Newell, it's just, so good. You can see that the scrum was under tremendous, the dynamic of the scrum pressure changed once Fletcher Newell was put on the tight head position, and it was just you can sense the penalty coming, and there was a crucial turnover for the All Blacks as well in that regard. And that was pretty much everything I want to say with this game. Amazing result for the All Blacks, and Beauden Barrett probably have to start for the All Blacks, like it or not. At least have to play next to Damian McKenzie holding his hands, and I do think that the Damian McKenzie definitely has the skill to be a world-class number 10, but he just needs somebody to really, he's just overwhelmed right now with the decision-making. Everybody's looking at him what are we going to do? And with the Beauden Barrett on the field, second playmaker on the field, even at a fullback position, just to give Damian McKenzie more time to build into his abilities at 10 will help a lot. Something that the Springboks does with Willie LaRue, they will put Willie LaRue as the second playmaker in the 15, and Willie LaRue will take over half the playmaking and just to make the job a lot easier. So something that as well the All Blacks can employ here for the upcoming matches in the Rugby Championship. So let's quickly go through the stats now. 2 tries apiece. 395 run meters to New Zealand. Oh, just before we go to the stats, one last thing. Once again, the England, right at the end of the game, the negotiations between the captain, Jamie George, and the referee was just way too much. When they were behind, stop talking, start playing. You're running out of time. And Jamie George just constantly negotiating. The negotiation just never stops. Just keep talking and talking. And he's running his own timeout. And it's just really stupid, I thought. I mean, and also you knew that England just wanted a draw at the end. But the fact that they were just like slowly walking to their own line out, still had time to probably, score, try and maybe get a penalty for the win. Nah, they were happy to just go for maybe the draw. Very slow, very frustrating at the end. I think some England fans might not be happy about that, especially with the constant, the international negotiation that is happening there between the English and the Australians. Not gonna work, okay? Don't stop trying to negotiate with an Australian. That is pro tip from me, okay? 2 tries apiece, 395 run meters for New Zealand, 415 for England, 118 passes for New Zealand. A defender's beaten. This is a number that really was really important in the second half. 28 for New Zealand, 16 for England. 14 turnovers conceded, and again, the turnover conceded number is something that England was trying to improve on last week, and they were, and then it's just something that played into their strategy, right? They keep you pinned inside your half, try to turn you over with the lineouts pressure, breakdown pressure, and it worked. 14 turnovers, they definitely won that battle. 123 tackles for the All Blacks, 16 missed tackles. The All Blacks defense was absolutely world class, absolutely disciplined, and and the England wasn't able to, despite all the pressure, they wasn't able to get any opportunities to even kick a penalty because of how good the All Blacks defense, how disciplined the All Blacks were. 115 tackles for the English, 28 missed tackles. Here's the difference in especially the second half. 36 kicks for the All Blacks, 29 for English, and there's the difference again. 1,052 kick meters to the English, 842. Last week as well, England was behind 800 to about 1,000. So once again, the difference was the kicking game, especially coming down off the bench. 4 rocks lost for English, something that's, like I said, the All Blacks breakdown was really, really, really clinical this week. Something that really didn't give any opportunity for England to get those penalties and 3 points. 10 lineouts for the All Blacks, 3 lost. There was like literally 3 lineouts lost in a row against the All Blacks. It was looking really, really bad. They did tidy it up a little bit, especially in the second half. And Asafa Moore came on. The coordination seemed to got a little bit better. The English only lost 2 out of the 18. Maro Toji had a really, really nice day out there. Scrum, 2 scrum lost. 1 in the first half, 1 in the second half. Fletcher, you'll get 1. And Ethan de Groo, I think, got the first one in the first half. Just absolute machines destroying the English scrum. Really, really good day for the big boys. And here's the difference. 6 penalties conceded against the All Blacks. Yeah, that is unbelievable. Like, I think that the selections, that is probably the key selection criteria that Razor Robertson selected these players based on their discipline. Only 6 penalties, 4 kickable. England, 11 penalties, 6 kickable. And that was ultimately, despite the possession, 51% to England, it's, ball possession last 10 minutes, 72. England was not able to convert that into points. So let's quickly do a recap of the game on all the scoring. So 10 minutes into the game, the All Blacks got their first try on the board. So there was again, nice little work around the short side. And Mark Talea saw a gap down the sideline, picked and go, went in for the try. Something that he's been doing really well for the Blues. And this is something, again, you can see that he worked around the rocks, just getting that little bit of forward momentum for his team to get that, to allow the players to get the ball out wide, to create that space, to prevent that rush defense. And immediately 7 points to nil for the All Blacks, 10 minutes into the game. 30 minutes into the game, the English was inside the All Blacks 22. They were building, finally getting the penalty advantage. And then the ball came out, crossfield kick. Faye Wabosu ran him. 2 players was around him to try to contest the ball. He jumped up, got the ball. Try time, 7 points apiece. He looked he looked unbelievable, by the way. Faye Wabosu. 90 minutes into the game, the All Blacks got a penalty. There was a bit of a discussion. Scotty Barrett actually wanted to go for the line out, which I was like cheering. And then David McKenzie's like, no, take the 3 right in front. Don't deny me 3 points. And he's taking that. So 10 points to 7. So that's actually not allowed in case you didn't know. Once you say you're going to go for the line out, you have to go for the line now. You can't change your mind after a decision has been made. But Scotty Barrett, the the grub that he is, was like, oh, hang on, ref, could you please remind me what the penalty was? And the referee was like, oh, it was here. And then he was able to get that changed to a 3 points for his team. The next points was scored was at 38 minutes. There was a penalty at the breakdown against Maritoji, I think it was, and the All Blacks kicked another 3. Sure enough, 13 points to 7 looked like it was going to be the lead going to halftime, but just before halftime, England once again inside the All Blacks 22 with some good counter attacking. Again, All Blacks kicking game, not able to get themselves out of their own half, and then England just building, like finally finding themselves the penalty advantage. Crossfield kick, exactly the same move as did in the first try. Tommy Freeman this time ran around, jumped up, outlipped Mark Talea. Try time. Yeah, so nice. Almost identical play to the Faya Wambosu try. 13 points to 14. England lead half time, 1 by 1 points. Who would have thought of that? Second half started as well. The All Blacks kicking was not contestable. Nobody was chasing. 48 minutes into the game, Dalton Papali'i got given away the penalty. Really tough one. The referee deemed that he had taken out a player in an offside position because he was kind of like making the tackle and got off the ground and bumped one of the player that was cleaning out one of the New Zealand players and prevented him from making the clean out. I thought it was a really tough call, but still, you're not allowed to bump another player in offside position anyway. So the referee said that was a penalty to England, 13 points to 17, and now this was really bad. At this point, the All Blacks was not contesting under the high ball. They were not able to get out of their own half, and nobody was looking at anything spicy to get themselves to break through the defensive line, right? And yeah, England was just camped inside the All Blacks half for a good about 10 minutes or so. Finally, 54 minutes, Beauden Barrett came on, and then immediately the game turned around. And he was put in 10 position as well. The kicks become contestable, and he was contesting them themselves. And then, about 62 minutes into the game, Beauden Barrett sets up for the first try for the All Blacks. The English went from not able to exit on 22, from immediately turning around, playing inside the English half. Finally, Beauden Barrett, like I mentioned, he spots the lazy props out wide in center field, lines himself against it, set up the line, the D-Mac passed him the ball, he ran through a gap, offload to Mark Talea, try time for the All Blacks, 18 points to 17, they get themselves back in front by 1 point. And you can tell that once Beauden came on, not only that he has the confidence to back himself, but everybody around him fed on his confidence. And this has led to just a cascading effect of the All Blacks playing a much higher tempo. That English they're out of their feet. 67 minutes into the game, there was a penalty offside against Maori Toji again. 3 points on the board, 21 points to 17. Finally, 72 minutes of the game, big scrum penalty. Fletcher Newell coming off the bench, doing exactly what he's paid to do, earning his paycheck, getting that turnover, not just the penalty at the scrum, but a turnover penalty, and kicking that 3, D-Mac, 24 points to 17. And 80 minutes in the game, final minute, England had an opportunity to level the game. You can tell they're just constant talking, wasting time, and then they just wanted a draw, couldn't quite do it, and the All Blacks wins the game. They went for a more. You looked at the ball was held up anyway, and then the referee said that Ollie Lawrence was involved in the more, broken off and shielded a defender from the breakaway, and no try penalty. All Blacks win 24 points to 17. That was close. That was much better performance once Beauden Barrett came onto the field for the All Blacks. Still a lot of work to do for the coaching staff to fix this one up. But hey, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later for the Wallabies game and the Springboks game later, I guess, in the morning. Cheers.